Anna, great to see you. Thank you very much for coming to talk about the work that you do. Um, in terms of the environment for women in big business now, is it getting a lot better, or is it very, very small changes? What's your view?
Well, it's going slow, and you can read that everywhere, and people are almost a bit desperate because they have done all these in-house leadership programs for women. You know, they send the women on the business skills courses, and they realize that it's actually they need to have a different approach, which is more holistic, which is what we do at Shine, where we we address the whole person. You know, we don't compartmentalize. We deal with, we believe everything that happens at home will come to work, everything that happens at work will come home. So we're dealing with the whole person, and we're empowering the whole person, bringing all your private assets, you know, that you use in your private life to your business life. And I think that's what's needed now, a more human, holistic approach.
Now, all over the square mile, I can hear bankers screaming at that thought, because that is traditionally what the sort of male workplace has always tried to avoid, isn't it? Sort of female emotions getting in the way. Is that still something that has to be battled against, do you think? That sense that female
Well, you know
emotions
what?
don't
The
belong?
men I coach or I work with, they quite like that. And if you look at the younger generations, Generation Y and digital, they quite like that. And they want a work-life balance. And they don't mind even maybe staying at home and be a stay-at-home dad. So I think that's times changing. That's a contemporary approach for your company in order to not lose all the women.
And is there still a huge drain of women from big companies, or
Yes.
is it starting to change?
No, it hasn't changed. It's still a huge problem, and that's why we have a lot of companies talking to us saying, what can we do? We got the internal leadership empowerment strategic excellence program for our women. They're still leaving. And what we do at Shine is that we bring women from different industries together so that they can learn from each other, and we get them out of their system, you know, developing confidence and developing strategies and a bigger picture, a bigger game for themselves, and then they go back into the company. So we really give them the umbrella view where they stop complaining or blaming the company, but understand that they are the company and that they are the ones who are strong enough, you know, to change the system.
I wonder, it's really interesting because you talk about there's still this drain, even though there are all these leadership programs in place. Is there a truth that no one is willing to say out loud, that actually women just get to a certain point and think, I don't want to do this anymore. I've got a family and I want to be able to spend more time. Is that, or are we?
I think there's a
allowed to say
percentage
that?
who prefers to be a homemaker, and I think yippee because I mean you can do a bigger service to society than create, you know, amazing children that will be valuable members of our society. So yes, but I see a lot of potential in a playground as well that is kind of thinking, I would like to, but I'm not sure. And we see a lot of women on Shine who are worried to step up because there are no role models that they can, you know, that they have seen, and they're a bit, but I mean, they would like to. And if you then empower them and tell them to what would you do if you weren't afraid, you know, they would say, well, I would run the company, I would be on the board, I would make change happen. So I don't think that women, you know, suddenly after having studied and having a career will, you know, want to be sitting in the playground and not work anymore, at least a huge percentage. But the ones who do, bless them, great. You know, I would never ever criticize.
And in terms of what you're saying is for women to make the changes, be the changes, to me that would be quite daunting, sort of saying go in and just make the changes yourself. What types of changes are you advising women that they can make in a big corporation, say in a big law firm where you want to be a partner? What can women practically do for themselves?
Well, bring the whole person to the business. So not lie about picking up your children from school, not lie about that you maybe go home, bring them to bed and then work again, you know, not lie about that you need more flexibility and that it's actually quite difficult without a huge amount of help to do this job, and you know, challenge, maybe your male partners as well. Wouldn't you like to maybe work a little bit less or be at home more? And really creating the changes that the new generation wants to see in order to work for this company. So you're actively looking into recruiting the new talent and making a difference and being different.
And you've talked a couple of times there about the new generation coming in. Do you think in another generation's time things will be a lot better? Will we see a sea change here?
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, I work quite a bit I work often with the women at Shine their teams are full of Generation Y and digital. So they have, people who, when you would say, well, I was here all weekend, their employees would say, well, I would not do that. Whereas after war generation, my parents, I would still be there all weekend. And if you would do that as my boss, I would copy you and do it. And they don't do that anymore. So we need new approaches to keep these people and to be role models. But it's again what we do on Shine, that we look at the whole person and we don't expect a person to leave half of them at the door of the company and then just show their corporate face. And women role modeling that, learning that on Shine, having the courage to do that, come back in the corporation and maybe communicate that as well, because everything we do on the course are very simple tools that they can use immediately with their teams, the next week, So doing a bit more of these human approaches, finding out about your values, finding out what would you if you weren't afraid, what's your bigger game, where do you want to have an impact, because this new generation wants to have an impact as well. Having an impact in the world is more rated than having money or power or anything. So I think that needs to happen, definitely, if you want to stay contemporary as a company.
Do you think that new generation, this sort of all about the work-life balance and expect equality in the workplace, do you think they would look at a course like Shine, which is sort of a retreat for women, and think that's actually a very outdated sounding thing?
Well, they are interested in personal development. So young women are interested in getting to know themselves better and having a bigger impact and interacting with other people in a more powerful way.
Don't young men want to do that too?
Yeah, and I have a lot of requests of companies who say, can you do Shine for men? Funny enough. Haven't done that yet, but
maybe you will.
The men all the women that come to Shine, the companies that send them, the men say, what's Shine? Can't we have something similar? So it's certainly happening.
So maybe in the future it'll be for both.
Yeah, I won't run it though.
Okay, Anna, thank you very much indeed.